time, Berno? 8:15.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to start our Campus Improvement Forum. First, I want to welcome you guys to Weber Hall, for those of you who haven't been in here before. My name is Alex Devers. I'm the Vice President of Student Community Government, and this is...
I'm Jen Outmace. I'm a former Deputy Speaker of Student Parliament.
So her and I will be kind of leading us in this Campus Improvement Forum, and we're going to turn over to Travis for a few words of introduction.
My name is Travis Escobar. I'm the president of Student Community Government Incorporated. For those who don't know, Student Community Government basically manages the student activity fee that you guys pay, and that comes out to about $120 a year. We help facilitate the growth of the student organizations on campus, and again, for events like these, we listen to your concerns and issues, and we talk with the administration on how we can help your life as a college student. So again, I thank you all for being here this evening, and at the close of the event, if you want to grab extra food, go ahead, because I'm pretty sure we'll have extras. And let's have a healthy debate tonight, and not anything go, I guess, too crazy. So again.
All right. If anybody needs seats, there's seats up here in the front or whatever. Unless you guys want to stand in the back, I just figured I would offer.
Like church right now.
Huh? You're good. All right, that's fine. Huh? All right. So what we're gonna do tonight is we're gonna go over. We have a few things that we want to discuss as a student government, but then the rest of this is kind of up to you guys, in which you guys want to discuss and which you guys see as needing improvement on the campus. What we are going to do is turn it over to some of the members of the administration who are here. They're going to give you a few brief updates or some news that they might have, so that way you guys are informed on what's going on the campus. So I guess we'll start with Dr. Kane. I don't know if you want to start with you. I don't know, I just saw you first and you were there. I'm sorry.
Sorry about that, everybody. I'm Scott Kane. I'm the Dean of Students. Welcome. I'm glad you're all here tonight. I actually have some things I think I would like to inform you all about, and then maybe some questions to ask. The first is, how many people here are familiar with where the Unity Center is located? Right, remember Hand Unity Center in the lower level of Donovan. You may know that over the past couple of years, we've had somebody working down in the Unity Center on a part-time interim basis. And just last week, the college, we hired her full-time, permanent, down in the Unity Center, Antoinette Gomes. So if you know Antoinette, you go down to the Unity Center to visit her. Please, give her congratulations for being hired as the new director of the Unity Center at Rhode Island College. And that was one of Student Community Government's agenda items at the beginning of this year. So I'm glad we were able to work together to make that happen. Another thing, I'm not sure if people are aware, but over the past year or so, the college has been engaging in a process to develop a master plan for the entire college campus, and that is a list of priorities for the college about things that it ought to do. Some of them related to academics and classrooms and buildings, some of them related to physical plans, some of them related to parking and roadways and those sorts of things. Last year, we had a number of different sessions with master plan architects on campus, getting feedback from all different constituents of campus, including students, to try to figure out what are the priorities for campus, what kinds of changes should be made over the next 10-year period, the 10-year master plan. Did anybody participate in that process last year in this room? Maybe a couple of you. Well, I'm not sure if the master plan report has been released to the public yet. I don't think that it has. I don't think it's available on the college's website. But we have, as somebody who was involved in the process, I recently met with the master planners along with a variety of other faculty and staff. And one of the positive outcomes from my opinion is, I guess, as the Dean of Students is, there's a couple of really important recommendations that are going to be included in the master plan regarding new facilities on campus. One of them includes a significant expansion of the student union, which was determined to be sort of inadequate for a student population of our size in today's day and age, and really sort of not up to snuff when you about comparable student unions at colleges and universities like Rhode Island College. It'll take a while for that to actually happen. Anybody a freshman here? All right, so you might see some of that happen before you leave. The way these things go, it's obviously a multi-year process, and once the construction starts, in and of itself, that's going to take a while. But it's obviously something very positive for student life on campus. It's something, again, that student community government really pushed, and so we're taking those first preliminary steps to make it happen. We'll be having an architect come to campus to be doing some feasibility work, giving us an idea of exactly how big of an expansion we should be looking at and how we might be able to fund it and that sort of stuff. That will be happening actually relatively soon. Hopefully by the end of this year we'll have a report on that. Another structure that the master plan recommends to the college in this 10-year time frame is a new residence hall on campus. And possibly sort of the phasing out of some current residence halls or some renovations of some of our older buildings. I can let Dr. Penfield talk about that if he wants to more later. But again, I just think that as far as the quality of student life goes, that really will have a significant impact on campus here in the next 2 years. So that is, those are a couple of updates regarding some areas that I think are obviously germane and important to students that we've been working with student community government on, that I wanted to give everybody a little bit of information on. Thank you.
I know Athletic Director Don Tencher, you had to leave soon for your alcohol, the athlete session, so I'll let you go ahead.
We just have a alcohol education program going on tonight, but I am Don Tencher, I'm the Director of Athletics and Recreation, but that's not, I don't think, why I'm here tonight. Since last April, I've been providing oversight for the physical plant, campus police, capital projects, and other things that are going on around campus. So I think that's probably more of the reason our athletic teams are pretty successful, so no one has too many complaints about that, but I hear more complaints about toilets not being cleaned and parking lots not having enough parking spaces. So just to give you a little bit of information, but last April, and it's basically how things work. We get a lot of things done in April, May, and June. I won't get into a list, but you've probably seen them. We had new benches put in, new trash barrels put in. We're studying recycling and what kind of recycling bins. We've had bike hitches put up. So there was a lot of progress done in the last quarter of last year. And that's typical kind of how the budget goes. We kind of wait and see what the legislature, what the governor's gonna ask us for. And so we had money to get a lot of things, and the hundreds of projects that were on hold last year. Now we're into this year, and I can tell you we're getting a lot of things done, but we're in the same old kind of picture, whereas we don't know what the budget cycle's kind of gonna look like. I think in the paper the other day, people are still reading, but there's some talk out there of cutting some of the entities in the state by 15%. So we always have to keep that in mind in managing our budget effectively. But I am the person right now that's signing off on requisitions as it relates to better cleaning supplies, door handles, toilet repairs. So I see that there's a lot of things being done. I know nowhere near as many as we would like. I know you could probably name 100 things right in here that need to be done, but our people are working very hard on the physical plant side and the housekeeping side. But we're also, right now, we're down a significant amount of bodies, okay, that we haven't filled over the last couple of years. And we really are looking how to fill those bodies right now, but more importantly, how do we effectively utilize them to make this a cleaner, more efficient campus. The other problem we have that we face, like Scott just talked about, is ever increasing older facilities. Most of our facilities now are up into the point that they were built in the 60s and 50s and 70s, and they just are getting old. And we really have to get to the point, okay, and it's a very difficult thing of balancing, it's a seesaw, of taking places offline to do the needed repairs. The perfect example is Whipple Hall, which is a critical roof repair that we've known we had to do, and we get the money in the budget. Another example, and I'll go back to them, is Craig Lee's roof, and the last one is the Horace Mann elevator. And I'll start with the nearest one, but the Horace Mann elevator has broken down for those people that use it like every 3 days for the last 15 years or something. And you know, it came down that the whole elevator needed to be replaced, and we had to make a hard decision. And what that was to close off basically from accessibility the Horace Mann upper levels this summer. Okay, and we had to relocate staff. But in order for us to get these buildings that are older and older and older back, we have to make hard decisions like that. The other one is Craig Lee. If we hadn't got that roof done for the winter, you probably would have been in class in snow just dripping down. So, you know, it's a pattern of the budget. Some people go, well, why don't you do it in July or August? Well, we don't get our budget, okay? This year, and Dr. Penfield could probably shed more light, but closer probably, by the time the budget's put in, it's August already. And then we have to go through the whole state processing system to do something like a roof. And then again, the Whipple Hall thing is the same situation, but we are making progress, and I think you'll continue to see progress. Our new Vice President of Administration and Finance is an outstanding person. He's doing exactly what he should be doing as a 3-month Vice President. He's sucking in as much knowledge and information as he can, and he's putting plans together in his head that will carry us effectively and efficiently into the future. So that's kind of the physical plan. You know, as far as the everyday stuff, which I think is the most frustrating to all of you and the most frustrating to me, if you live in the resident halls and that toilet doesn't work for 4 days or 3 days or 1 day even, that's a very frustrating thing. And those are the things we need to continue to stay on top of. The second piece is our capital project piece, and you're going to see a lot of things being done on that. And just so you know, if there's something you see, well, why is this money being spent somewhere else? Rhode Island did what I think is a pretty interesting thing, and what they did is any of the stimulus money that was put out by the administration in Rhode Island was put aside not to like fund a position that wouldn't be here 6 months from now, but it was put aside to make safety and especially fire improvements to our campus. So what you're going to see, extreme amounts of construction going on that make places more safety conscious. They have to be, the money has to be spent, and again, this isn't the college's dictation, the money has to be sent in those facilities that dictated classroom academic type facilities, but you're going to see more smoke alarms, more fire alarms, more sprinklers, those type of things going on around campus that really are going to make us a safer place. So you'll see some of that, and then you'll see some, you know, other capital projects and monies we're trying to get from other sources. So you will see some bigger things going on, like the roof. And then the last piece, kind of you know, my puzzle is Mr. Gio's area, and Fred since July has done a bang-up job. Mr. Cody, for those of you who don't know, kind of left kind of quietly over the course of the summer. He was a great chief. He put in an enormous amount of time at Rhode Island College to making us a better place, and also during that tenure served, you know, with our armed forces over in the Middle East. So real good guy, you know, tough guy to lose, but I'm very confident in Fred. Fred, for those of you that don't know, is a former FBI agent with the Providence office, so he brings to the campus a whole different wealth of law enforcement background. I think some positives about, many positives, but some positives, he's very, very connected, okay, to the law enforcement community. And that's a very, very positive thing, and the fact that, you know, if we need to do a BCI check on somebody, Fred can pull the strings quickly to make sure, you know, that things get done rather quickly. So I'm happy about that. Fred has brought to himself, you know, to the campus a philosophy that, and I've seen it, and I'm out walking all the time, even tonight, looking at light bulbs that are out, that we're going to be more hands-on. If you haven't noticed it, our campus police cruises are in a more defined place. They're not hiding somewhere up by some treed areas. We've told everybody we want them to be very, very visible around the campus. Fred has a rule right now, they can only be in the cars for so long, and then they got to be out walking around, or at least visible on the streets. You probably see the new cruises that previously we could have an accident out on the main road, and his guy was out there with a flashlight, without lights on the car, without sirens. So we've become more of a police department. We're doing more professional training, all things that I think, you know, are going to make us a better police department. Part of that stuff goes, you know, with you know, our guys acting professionally, looking professionally, and treating our constituents, you people, professionally. So basically that's too much or say too much already, but that's kind of my piece right now with developing plans, again, for more stuff going on. Just the very positive piece is our rec center is on track. I think the most frustrating part of the job, is this non-athletic director's job, is dealing with some of the layers and layers and layers of red tape we have to go to get things through. And sometimes, again, I know it's frustrating on your part, you blame it on us, you blame it on this, but really, we work diligently. We have not stopped all summer at really trying to cut through levels and levels of red tape to get things done. And I really got an inside hand at looking at the rec center, where we basically had everything done on campus to go with that project last spring. And it's been held up, since that point in layers and layers of red tape. So, but we're very confident that that's going to be building over the next when you come back, I think in the spring semester, you'll see stuff starting to move. We're pretty confident it's going to start to move. We hope to select a builder over the next few weeks, and hopefully be done very, very closely to the start of school next fall. So thank you.
All right, we'll go to, since we already started talking about Deputy Chief right here, we'll go to, pass it over to you.
Well, thanks. I was going to speak for about an hour, but since Don took a lot of the things I was going to talk about, except for me, I wasn't going to talk that much about me. But some of the things I did want to bring up is since the end of school with the president's end of school last year with the president's help, we have gone to, we've got a number of new cruisers. One came from the athletic department. They're new to us, but they are used, but they're new to us. And the thing that I like to do is, I came from a place where things are pretty uniform. And I like uniformity, and that's why, if you look now, all our cruisers are the same, have the same outlook. They are all white with the same lettering, same things on it, and it just adds to what I'd like to say is an esprit de corps within the department. Before I was in the Bureau, I was with the Navy, and it was always, if you look sharp, you feel sharp, and that's what I try and get the officers to buy into, and they have. We've gone from new cruisers to a new radio system that is compatible with every other community in the state and with the state police. We have contact with the state police on there, and with North Providence and Providence Police and Fire. So we're able to communicate directly with them. Before, if there was a fire on campus or an alarm was pulled, we talked to our dispatch, would talk to their dispatch by phone. Their dispatch would then radio the engine and say that we were going to meet them at such a place. And now we can talk directly to the engine if we have to. And that came from, a lot of that came from the money that Don was talking about from the fire safety. It was communication, was part of it. And we're just putting in a new base station in the office that will be able to listen to statewide channels, our own channel here on campus, and we're also able to hear Physical Plant on their radio system, which is an older radio system. As things go on in campus, new additions are made, renovations. We're also trying to get cameras up. When there's a new area, we're putting cameras up, and we're getting all that brought into our office. It's been a pretty trying time, like Donna said. It's because of the infrastructure is antiquated. We're running fiber optics or whatever, trying to get it into our office to run these cameras, because they were used to be run on an analog system, which is downgraded, and we're not able to really use any longer. So they're upgrading our system for cameras. We put in, when I got here, there were 19 emergency telephones. Now there's 39. So again, with the president's help, we've increased that. And most of them, if not all of them, have a two-way system where we can talk, we can send out a message on that blue light. If we want to send a campus-wide message out, we'll be able to do that when the system's functioning up to speed. And lastly, a number of the administration and myself have been engaged in what we hope to do with the assistance of REMA, which is the Rhode Island Emergency Management Agency, and FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Administration, to do an emergency exercise here on campus in the spring or early summer of next year, which will encompass all the colleges and universities in Rhode Island. But it'll be hosted here at Rhode Island College, and it'll be some sort of emergency exercise where it could be hostage situation, active shooter. We haven't decided yet what it is, and more than likely we'll need extras, so to speak. And we'll probably be going to the student body to look for extras to play different roles during the exercise. But that's about all I have right now, and I just want to say that it looks like we're moving forward, and that's the biggest thing. We're moving into the 21st century with our new systems, and also another new system we're getting in. I just received confirmation today is a new reporting system where we'll be able to link in our the criminal or the Rhode Island RILETs. It's their database from BCI in Providence into our office and into our cars via laptop computers that we're going to be putting in the cars, and there'll be a new reporting system. And as Donna mentioned about one thing, I do feel good about is if there is something that I need within the law enforcement community here in Rhode Island, I do have a pretty far reach. The Colonel and Superintendent of State Police and I have known each other for 30 years. He started with the State Police in 1980 when I started with the Bureau here in Providence, and we've worked together. And the first thing after Virginia Tech is he called me and he said, you know, I'll have troopers on your campus if anything happens in seconds. And I know that he's good for his word and would definitely, and has helped me out in different situations on campus. So I'm pretty confident that if anything ever terrible happens, you know, we will get all the assistance. And if anything good happens, he also will help us out too. If we need, if anybody comes to my office and asks about getting into law enforcement, I always give them the spiel about the Bureau, which has to come first. And then I also send them to the State Police, because if you're a Rhode Islander and you want to stay in Rhode Island, you definitely want to be a Rhode Island State Trooper. And next year they're having a class. So that's all I have.
All right, the next person we'll hear from is Arthur Patry from Donovan, so he'll do an update on what's going on in Donovan.
Good evening. My name is Arthur Patry, and on behalf of myself, the staff, and the director, we want to take a moment and thank you for allowing us to be part of this. As you know, when you came back in September, for those of you who were here last year, an awful lot has changed in Donovan. It's a work in progress, and it continues to be a work in progress. A lot happened in a short period of time, and it's a little frustrating to a lot of us that the pace is a little slower, but we will get there. A couple of fast points. We're proud that through the input and the feedback of our customers and the college community, we have the dining center that we have today. There's a lot more improvements we can make. We're aware of it, and we're working diligently to do that. But your input does result in changes. For that, I want to take a minute and say thank you. And I also want to remind everyone, please don't wait for an opportunity like this. There's always somebody at the dining center. If you're looking for steak sauce and it's not out there, if you're looking for a certain type of dressing, or if you have another concern, take the time, see somebody. If we can correct it on the spot, we will. Thank you.
All right, and then I guess we'll go to Michael Smith from the President's Office. He'll give us a quick update.
Thank you. I'm Michael Smith. I'm the Assistant President of Cariolo. Normally be here this evening, but had an educational conference out of state and was not able to join you, but she sends her best wishes. I don't have a lot to report, but I do have some very good news that just came in this afternoon. Now, you know that student government was very helpful in supporting the bond issue to renovate the Art Center, $17 million from the state. And the voters of Rhode Island strongly agreed that we need to improve these facilities. And just this afternoon, we received approval from the State Department of Administration for the college's choice of an architectural firm. It took about 4 weeks to get that through the process, but now that a firm has been engaged, and it was the college's recommendation, they can accept the college's recommendation. And they can, as soon as a contract is put out for them, they can begin the plans and get down to putting together construction drawings upon which the construction bids would be based. And as soon as that process is done, we can get the shovels in the ground and get that project underway. It's the project, depending on when in the year that it starts, as you know, in New England, you have weather issues that we've got to deal with as well. And because it's an existing building, there are certain staging issues that we've got to take care of. Certain parts of the building might be under renovation, other parts might still be in use. So those things take time. We've got to find a place where we can move classrooms and studios and the other activities that take place in the building. We've got to move some of those out of the building. So it'll all be phased, and the architects will come up with that kind of a phasing plan. But we're really excited. It will not only make it a wonderful building for all the students that take art courses, but it will make it a safe place. It'll enhance instruction, and it really will bring the building up to the quality of the academic program that's reflected in the great art students that we have, the great art faculty. So we're really, really excited about this step forward, and just be ready to get underway. So that just happened this afternoon. So we're real pleased with that. On another item, you've heard about these master plans that we have. There are actually a couple of plans. Earlier, you heard about the physical plan, the 10-year master plan developed on the campus. There's also a programmatic plan. This is a 5-year plan. It's called RIC Vision 2015. This is the first year of the plan. Each year, there are a series of implementation steps to bring us closer to the goals that are established in the plan. That part is now on the web. You can go to www.ric.edu and key in RIC Vision 2015, and it'll take you to that page. Take a look at what the implementation plan is for the coming year. And because it's a 5-year plan, these things evolve. So every year there's a modified plan that gets put out. But the physical master plan, the 10-year master plan, as soon as we get the final version back from the consultants, we'll also have that up on the web, and that will give you an opportunity to take a look at it, comment on it, and give suggestions. Because, the feedback loop is very, very important. We design these things with the input of students, and it is for students. And the insight that you can bring to the process is just extremely valuable. And we appreciate any of that feedback. That's all I have for this evening.
All right, and last but not least, Dr. Gary Penfield will give us kind of a little.
I'll be brief. My colleagues have given you a wealth of good information about what's going on here at the college. I'm going to take a slightly different tack. I want to ask those in the room a question that I asked at a student community government meeting about 2 meetings ago that I'm paying a little bit of attention to now. And my question for you is, how many of you have made use of electronic textbooks rather than buying hard copy textbooks in our campus store? How many of you have used, Nick has used, you've used electronic for all of your courses or just for?
For some of them, if the book's too expensive, it's cheaper for me to, it's like $100 cheaper if you buy it, like buy an ebook than if you buy it from the bookstore or buy it from somebody else.
Are you accessing the ebook through the campus store connection or through Amazon?
I did it through Amazon.
Amazon?
And like the Barnes and Noble website gives you like
Yeah.
a little thing that you can read about.
You're using,
Yeah.
did you say you were or somebody else had a hand up here?
Yeah, I have a Kindle, so I'll
You have a
download from
Kindle, so you're
Amazon.
making use of that. Okay, well, I'm interested in that because, of course, it's a national phenomenon, and the research says that more and more students are making use of the electronic textbooks. Right now, the percentage is somewhere around 5 or 6% nationally. I think it's probably lower here at Rhode Island College, but the projection is that this is going to grow over the next few years. And of course, the impact of this is what is it going to mean for the operation of our campus store? There was an article that was out just last week that's projecting the actual demise of campus bookstores on college campuses. I don't think that's going to happen in our lifetime, your lifetime, here, my lifetime as well here on this campus. But you can see with all of the new technologies emerging and the way the country is going, that that's a topic that we have to pay attention to. In the case of our own store, we've noticed about a 5% decline, 4.5%, 5% decline in the volume of textbook sales. That's newly used textbook sales. But that's going to be something that we'll have to pay attention to, and you're going to be probably getting more and more involved in that. So I just wanted to query you on that. You've had a lot of other good information. I want to now hear from some of you in terms of questions that you have. So, and by the way, you have a very, very good group of executive officers with student government this year, and other members of student government who might not be executive officers, who are really interested in working with us here at the college to make this institution stronger and more vibrant than it has been. So thank you very much for what you're doing for the college.
Well, I guess we can thank the administration for coming here and doing that. And as Dr. Penfield said, it's now your turn as students here at Rhode Island College to kind of talk to us and kind of let the administration and the department chair heads who are here know kind of what you guys are feeling. So the way we kind of thought we would start this out anyway is kind of give some general bullet points of where you guys want our conversation to go. Before we start, I kind of want to give kind of like a disclaimer that we're here to help improve the campus, and while there are definite issues or complaints you guys might have, we want to try and work on them and better them. We just don't want this to turn into complaining constantly about what's going on campus. So if there's something you want to see improved on campus, or you have an idea of something that can improve our campus, this is another reason why we're here. So we want to hear some of the good ideas that you guys have as students that you want to see implemented possibly on Rhode Island College campus, and also some things that you guys might want to see changed. And I saw Jordan's hand in the back. So we'll start with Jordan in the back.
Hi everybody, I'm Jordan. I'm an RA in Sweet Hall. I just have a question about campus police, like presence. It seems like last year they were a bit more present in the hallways, like towards the later hours of the night, like the overnight officers. They used to come in the halls and just check on it, make sure everything's okay. And we haven't been seeing that as much, if not any. I haven't seen any nights that I've been on call, where they usually just pass through, or like it'll be like 2 a.m. and just come through and make sure everything's okay. Just like the question, see if that would be possible to start happening again.
It's definitely possible, and I forgot to bring it up. We just, as many of you that live on campus know, Ron Urso, who was the dorm officer for 15 years, because of family situation, moved from third shift to second shift. But we hired what I feel is an outstanding officer that just retired from Providence PD, who was a graduate of Rick and was an RA at Rick when he was there. So he's been here for a little less than a month, and he's just starting to get his feeling and get his feet wet back in. And I think maybe you don't notice him right away. He's a little shorter and quite a bit thinner than Ronnie. Although Ronnie came to me and showed me, he said, "Hey, I just went down 2 notches in my belt." So that was impressive. But Gary Venditto is the new dorm officer. He was a sergeant on Providence PD, and like I said, he was a graduate of here and was an RA in Willard, and was interviewed and picked by myself and the director of residential life, Teresa Brown, and the assistant, Brian Lally. So he will, as he gets more familiar and back into it, get around in the campus, because I know he likes to walk around and go through the different residential halls. So you'll see more of him. But I'll also have our West Patrol, who has this area. If you'd like more presence in the dorms, we can send them in, and if that's what you want, then you'll get it, because tomorrow I'll make sure that the patrol starts going through also. So that's fine with me. If it's fine with you. Okay.
All right. So we're gonna get. I would like some general topics of where you guys feel that we kind of want to look to see if you guys have any ideas where we could improve, or anything that you guys really want to see happen at Rhode Island College campus. Yes.
This isn't so much an improvement. I was wondering more about, if anyone can answer this, about tuition. I haven't heard anything about that. I didn't know what was going on with that. If it was going to go back up, if it was going to raise again, or.
I mean, as far as, I don't know, maybe one of the administration can answer, but as far as I've heard, it's going to stay relatively.
Yeah, at the present time, the college had to submit its budget for the next fiscal year to the Board of Governors for higher education, and they submitted to the state. And this is probably about a month ago now, Michael. When the Board of Governors submitted to the state, they made a strong case for no tuition increases at all at the 3 public institutions of higher education. And their rationale was essentially that if higher education is the solution to the problems that the state has, we have to be careful not to price the cost of higher education out of reach for the population here in Rhode Island. And so the message that they were delivering is higher education needs more money to operate from the state. The percent of our budget that comes from state funds, from the taxpayers, if you will, and other sources, has been declining year by year. It's time to stem the tide, even it out, and start to contribute even more money. And part of the package is that there won't be tuition increases for students. That's the proposal. Then, of course, the legislature has has to act after that. Is that a fair
Thank you,
answer
Dr.
to your
Menfield.
question?
Yes.
May I have a piece of chicken now?
All right, so does anybody else have any topics that like they think needs to be discussed in general? Otherwise, we have a few as a student community government executive. Kim?
A need for automatic bathrooms.
Oh, okay. So you want to see automated bathrooms put in instead of the traditional hand flush. All right, we can pass that. I know they started to do it. We can pass that on to campus, the physical plan. Yes?
Green initiatives.
Green initiatives. We will talk about green initiatives. Anybody else have any? Yes, Amy Mosh.
I just have a question about meal.
Sure.
Do you want me to say it now?
Is it? Yeah, I guess that would work now.
Hi, I'm Amy. I'm an RA in Weber. Just a thing, like, I understand the board plan. It's not my favorite, but I understand it. But a thing, like, if you're in class from, say, till 8 o'clock at night, John would post it at 7:30, and say you're in class from 4 to 8, then you didn't get to use your dinner board that day, so if I were to go to the cafe, I have to use my bonus points, but I lost my board for that day. So I was just wondering if there's a way you could, like, transfer it to use your board, like, in the cafe, so you don't lose it.
Well, unfortunately, Amy, right now, there is no play. And I understand the way you feel about losing it. One of the things that happened, as a matter of fact, I believe Travis brought up some good points a couple of years ago. There was a lot of concerns about the meal plans. And we did adjust them, we modified them, we came out with a new meal plan. And one of the things when you build a meal plan is we know that not everyone is going to take advantage of every meal. And that was already built in. So the price you pay right now for that meal plan was adjusted accordingly. We know that people, if you have a 19-meal plan, you're not going to use it 100% of the time every week.
Oh, no,
So what we also did, recognizing that people would have class and some different schedules, is we added the bonus points so that people could go over the cafe and galley. And we looked at the opportunity where people could use those points. And we said, hey, let's let them use it all day long at the cafe and all day long up at the galley. People are in different parts of the campus, lifestyles are different, course schedules are different. On top of that, to be even a little more fairer, because we know people aren't going to be able to use 100% of their meals, we added some guest passes. So while I can understand when you'd say that, you know, I lost that meal, yes, you didn't have the opportunity to have it, but trust me, it was built in, and we hope we made enough accommodations for that meal that recognizing that you're not going to be able to utilize 100%. It's a good meal plan. It was a long time in the planning and looking at it. And we're proud to say a lot of it did come right from student community government, raising some concerns. It was a 2 or 3 year process. So hopefully you won't have a lot of 4 to 8 classes. You'll be able to come over.
Unfortunately, that's not always my plan to have a 48 class. But, so, sorry, I have to I feel like I'm talking it great to you. But, like, if I had, I don't mind that I lose it necessarily, but if I want to go to the cafe, say Tuesday and Thursday, I have class 48, example. And then by, like, November, since I use my bonus dollars every Tuesday and Thursday, and so I try to go to the cafe, and I don't have any bonus dollars left, but I haven't used all my boards, then you're kind of out of luck, which is the point of the board plan, so people don't run out of points and are not out of food. But if you go to the cafe, then you're out of points, so there again, you're out of food.
Which meal plan do you have, Amy?
I have the 10-meal plan, so I have all the extra points.
So in that 10, the reason I asked is I tried to say it earlier.
I don't eat breakfast, so.
Even in the 10, with the 10 meals, there's 21 opportunities in the course of the week to use your meals.
No, I understand. That's not what I'm saying. I don't mind necessarily that I lose the meals. It's not. It's that you can't eat dinner. It's that you can't eat dinner because you run out of points.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. We built that, and we built the meal periods as well. Last year, we accelerated our decision to move the evening meal from 7 to 7:30 to to adjust to help with the class schedule. We did take a look at the class schedule. We've looked at other schedules on campus when we designed it. There are a few little things that fall through the cracks, so maybe your class schedule is well.
Is there any option for people to do, like, if she has class 4 to 8, is there like a to-go option where she can use her board at that time before?
There isn't with this meal plan.
Okay.
But what we did do was we added both the guest passes and a series of bonus points.
Yeah, no, and I think she understands that. It's just, so what is her, so she does not eat dinner on Tuesday and Thursday nights? I guess is her question. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
is there any other option for her on Tuesday and Thursday if she runs out of her points?
There really isn't. She's chosen that 10 meal plan. She does have the option of any 10 meals.
Yeah, but even if she had 19, she'd still miss dinner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just so it doesn't really,
Yeah.
and she actually has one with the most points, but if she runs out, then, okay. So then,
So like, I get like the point. Really, what I'm trying to say is like, last semester I had points because if I want to eat and I have class later, I have work and stuff like that, I would run out of points because I had all points. But I understand people run out of points. That's the point of board, so everybody's guaranteed meals every single day. But if you have later classes and you miss it, and now right now you run out of points, then again that puts you in that same problem of not being able to eat.
Not being able to eat that meal.
Yeah,
I understand.
Dinner's like a regular meal. Like you have to eat your meal a day. I'm not saying it's not yours. I'm just
I don't
saying that
disagree with
decided,
you.
but
I don't disagree. Some would say breakfast is an important meal, but everybody's different. There's no way of building a meal plan that's going to be 100% perfect for everyone. And
so
trust me,
there's
we
no way you can use your board in the cafe that you
No.
didn't use.
there isn't at this time.
Okay, at this time, is there a way to maybe instill that in the future?
Well, there might be if we look at a different generation of meal plans. If we go back and visit the meal plan, which we do every so often.
Okay.
But right now, there isn't. No. Okay. Thank you.
I could just indulge you. I apologize, Fred and I have to go to this other thing, but we would take as many questions if anybody has anything to do with facilities or physical plants before I leave.
Anyone?
Yes?
I have more of a concern. My name is Jennifer Scanlon, and I live in New Hall. I was in Whipple today, that's where the roof is getting redone, and I just wanted to bring to your attention that they were sort of like hammering very hard, and the ceiling was like kind of started to come down a little bit, and one of the lights almost fell. So my teacher like alerted them, but I was just wondering if there's a way that you could like tell them that there's classes going on and that like it's kind of a concern when.
Absolutely, I understand that myself. but
Yeah, like
we-
my teacher did alert them, so like they knew for that day, but just that like we were on like the 3rd floor or something.
And I'm not sure you got it, but an alert was sent out to the entire campus on that job. And again, I apologize. Some of those things happen, but we should be alerted. The physical plan should be alerted right away. I know we had an incident last week with the rain. We got up there right away.
Yeah, I think my professor just didn't know where to go with it, so she
But I will
just
look
told
into that. You know, and I don't, you know, this is probably the stupidest thing I ever did, but, you know, if there's something that's not done, my email address is dtencher@rick.edu, and you can send it to me. Now, please, I don't want to, you know, give the physical plan a chance, but if there's something that, you know, consistently, like I talked to a parent the other night about a, you know, plumbing problem that went on for a few weeks in one of the halls. That just shouldn't happen, right? It's intolerable, in my opinion, right? So I want to hear those things. So I don't want to hear anything about the meal plan, though. That's not my baby. Yes, yes, sir.
I had more of a comment on the back parking lot. A lot of times we'll end up with broken glass all over the place. And I understand that it's very, very difficult to clean that up while the parking lot's full, which is the issue that physical plant would run into in cleaning it up. But I was wondering if it would be possible to clean it more frequently, maybe like on a long weekend. That lot gets pretty empty during the weekend, or over some of the extended breaks like Columbus Day or even you know, Veterans Day weekend. A lot of people left. If it would be possible to clean it more often, that would be good. I know there's times where there's a lot of glass back there and people have to drive over that. and it
I
becomes.
think you're absolutely right, and that's
Safety
one of the
issue.
things I've prided myself on since April is getting out there. There's a couple of issues. I think the one to clean those parking lots the right way is, and I don't know if you know, like you'll see us do it in the spring after winter sands, but we bring in a contractor with a big machine, and that's really the way. And we're having, and maybe the RAs can tell you more, but it seems like there's a lot more kids staying on campus because we have such a great RA system. But, you know, even on some of those extended weekends, there's a lot of cars out there where it wouldn't behoove us probably to bring in that machine that couldn't do the job. But I think, you know, we can definitely go around, at least, you know, piecemeal some of that stuff and look at it and see how we should do a better job at doing that. But we, you know, I think personally some of the answers are to hire more students who are looking for jobs to help out, you know, with those type of things, because we just can't keep up with it. And, you know, we've been working hard with the unions and they've been very, very good. But I think we need to, you know, do more policing ourselves. Yes?
Now, is that a possibility, actually? Because what I had been told in the past, as far as student employment through the physical plant, was that you run into a union issue, and that you need to, certain jobs need to go to union members. And if there's, say, work-study people, that would, you know, clean the back lot, change light bulbs, do whatever little jobs the physical plant can't get to. Is that a possibility?
I think we're working closely with the unions, okay, and the management of the unions are very, very good and cooperative people, and I think we need to move in that direction. We don't want, you know, students weed whacking,
right,
but we just can't keep up, okay, with the litter pickup, you know, and so unless someone comes up with a better solution, and this is Don Tencha, I think that's a pretty good solution in working hand in hand with the people that do that to some degree, right? Not to take, you know, we shouldn't be taking those jobs, but I think it's everybody. I walk this campus, people that walk behind me laugh because I pick up junk all the way to go see Dr. Penfield and all the way back. And I don't want the job, I don't want to get paid, okay? I just want the campus to be, you know, in better shape, and that's why we placed, by the time, you know, the spring comes around, we're going to be probably 5 times the number of trash barrels that we had on this campus previously the last spring. So, you know, that's another piece. We've actually put them out in parking lots, and they're plastic that we can take them back in the winter so they don't get smacked by plows. But I think that's something, you know, we need to work with students on, and of course the unions. I don't want someone to say Don Tench is going to do this. That's not what I'm saying. I think just like I always, you know, we've done a good job in athletics raising money. When the new development director came on, so raising money for the college is everybody's job. It's not just Jim Selmo's, right? And the same thing, keeping the campus clean is all of our jobs, and if we can all pitch in, I think we'll be a better place.
Is there any way to add more recycling bins?
We are. We're looking at that right now. They're very, very expensive,
Yeah.
okay? And extensively expensive. And if you look at, because of the, you know, I talk to colleagues in Florida, and they don't even understand the problems we have up here. You know, like, last week it took us, if you look at our fields right now, they look terrible because all the windscreens are down. And I was telling somebody, we had to take all our windscreen down for the winter. They go, what do you mean? Well, we left the windscreens up one winter and we lost the entire outfield of the baseball field. All right? So when I talk to my colleagues in Florida, they go, they don't understand we have to sand, we have to do this, we have to clean up after sand. They don't have any of those things, you know, that they have to do. So, you know, it's a big job, but, you know, I think it's something we can do better on. And while we're on that, because I know that it's not a concern maybe today, but maybe next week it would be, is that, you know, we've already met on snow. Again, I got to give Mr. Gearhart and Greg Gamble kudos, but we've met on snow, and we have a plan in place, and we have an extensive plan in place, and you know, we hope it's going to work better than it worked last year, but it's not like something we're not planned for. We're ready to go, and to make this place, you know, as safe as possible, the campus, as it relates to snow removal and keeping it safe. Yes, sir.
This is kind of a question I'm piggybacking hers. In Sweet Hall, we don't have all of our recycling bins. Like the big community ones that we have the little blue ones, but we don't have the bigger ones that get picked up every once a week. So like a lot of, I think that they put it in for us to get new ones, but we still haven't received
You should
them.
go over by the hole in Craig Lee. There's about 15 over there. I like to get rid of that. They're there all the time. But You know, and that's one thing that we're doing a better job at. You know, people are telling me, well, you know, I've been calling, you need to put in a work order. Because you know what happens when you complain to me, I'll go back and check that. And they can't lie about it. And I don't know how they do it, but, you know, I'm telling you, put an send an email for a work order, keep a copy of it. Because that's my check and balance. But getting back, and even, you know, taking into her thing, we're looking at a system. If you look at the trial, there's a couple. I think there's one up in the galley. There's one in the library.
I love those things.
Huh?
I love those things.
We can't really do a recycling program outside all the time because we just get whatever. The other thing is we have a massive job, okay, at people, again, cooperating. You go to the bottle thing, it's full of garbage. Now the housekeepers, and you know what, basically, I don't know what happens because I'm not going to say this, but after we waste so much man-woman hours taking the garbage out from the bottles, it's crazy. But we've got to go with systems that are inside. And if you look at the library, that's what we're looking at right now. That's what we're seeing how that works through this semester. It seems to be working good. But I think those units are like $1,500 a piece. So they're extensive, and they break it down. And that's really what you see there. Again, I think Arthur's got one in the cafe, is the system, I mean not the cafe, the galley, is the system I think we need to get every single building. Now, you asked me in January, I may tell you different, but right now the latest data is that's the system we probably need to put in every single building. But you know, and again, it's funny, but now you put in a system like that, and this is the bureaucracy sometimes, but now who empties the system? It's like, you know, so but we are moving in that direction, and I think you'll see it better. Even though you have a Yankees hat, I'm just gonna do that.
And I'll answer any Yankees question.
I would like to see, I don't know, I think you said something about like cameras in the building, because like lately we have residents inside New Hall that leave through the emergency exit, and then we try to like make them not go through those doors, but then we can't catch who it is. So maybe if there's like cameras there, we can catch those residents that are leaving through there, maybe like document it.
Okay, through the emergency.
Yeah.
There was one other thing I wanted to bring up. We, directors of all the college departments of security, meet once a month. And we just met last week, and the director from Johnson & Wales came in, and he had this, he was a retired state police major, and he had this forlorn look on his face. And I said, what's the matter? He said, well, we're going through an inspection from the Department of Education in the next week, based on, they just sent at random, but he said, what I found out with some research, he said, have you ever read the Daily Beast? I guess it's a internet sort of news something, and I just looked it up, and they ranked the 50 safest colleges and the 50 worst colleges in the country. I guess they were in the 50 worst, so for safety, and it's tough. They're right in downtown Providence, and you know, they have the Thursday through Sunday nights and things like that. But he said, you don't have anything to worry about. I said, what? He said, you were 10. I said, what, 10? I said, I don't know. So I went back and I did look this up, and we were not 10. We were 35th out of 50. But we still were 35th out of 50 of the safest schools in the country based on their data. So I felt pretty good about that. It's not just the officers and our department doing it, it's the whole campus, you know, taking part in it. And I really appreciate that one. That's just one internet news service. You know, things may change from another one, but they use standard procedure, standard written reports that we have to furnish, and every college and university has to furnish every year, called the Clery Report, and based on that, that's where they ranked us. So, like I said, I was pretty happy about that. He was not very happy because they're coming in for 4 days, the day after, Tuesday after Thanksgiving, and do a full inspection. And the year understands, but we used to have inspections of the Bureau every 3 years. all I remember is that the inspectors, we get 24, 30 of them come in and do the whole field office. And they would always say, we're just here to help. And then at the end, as guys were getting disciplined, they were still there to help. And so this is just what they're going through right now, or going to be going through next week with the Department of Education. It's like if you were undergoing an IRS audit. It's something like that. It's very, very nerve-wracking. They want all sorts of different documents and things like that. So luckily, we don't have to.
I know.
I think what Fred is stressing is, I think what I've heard as a common thread here tonight, the most successful community police programs in the country are community-based policing. And what that means is you got to get involved. Okay, you're the best thing. The blue phones are great, but if nobody ever coughs on them, it don't matter. And the same thing, no matter what it is in our end of the business, your feedback's important. And I know Arthur's gonna go back tomorrow and talk to Mr. Fleming, and he may not solve the problem, but I can tell you it's gonna be brought up. I know them well enough, it's gonna be brought up. I know Fred already wrote down about seeing more activity on the floors at night. So, this is very important stuff. And, I would say, continue to use emails, continue to stop by our offices and tell us, hey, I think this is an issue. And I think that's important. But again, getting into community policing, the most important thing is the community being involved. I did look up there, and there's a automatic toilet thing up there. And let me just tell you a little bit about that. Like the new rec center will have all of that stuff, okay? If you go to Henry Barnett School, we're just completing a model bathroom that will be used across the campus as we remodel bathrooms, and it's all kind of automatic stuff. One of the big issues with that, and again, like everything else, is the cost of it, and I think you'll see all of our new stuff going that way, but what happens is, like the automatic ones, if you don't run in all new power lines, just as one example, you got to put batteries in every one. And the batteries, after like 3 weeks, all of a sudden don't work anymore. So who goes changing the batteries? So as we do new projects, I think you're going to see more and more of that type of things. But to be honest, and I've looked into it, like the battery ones just don't work. One thing we're looking at right now is those new, they're like super hurricane hand dryers. I don't know if you've seen them. The ones we have around here, it's like you gotta sit there and finally just wipe it on my clothes and leave. I normally do it in the back of my shirt though, so you can't see it. But the new ones, they can dry your hair in about 5 seconds. They're high energy efficient. So those are the things that don't cost us a lot that we gotta do more of. But we are making progress in that direction. And again, I want to reiterate, you're gonna see Mr. Gerhardt, I think, really, pushing those type of things. Yes.
She has a question up here. Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Thank you. Okay, hi. My name is Caitlin. I'm an RA over in Newhall. I've lived here for 4 years, and so I've dealt with physical plant before. My qualm is with the efficiency of the physical plant. I personally have had a problem in my room, and my hall director has submitted the issue several times since September, so hopefully that will be in your records, like you said, to check. But over the past 4 years, this has happened, where you put in a problem, and I realize there is an entire campus to take care of. But while we're making all these new improvements, you need to keep up with the old. And my question is, what's happening where we have to keep resubmitting these issues, and I'm not getting, the issue fixed, and my residents aren't getting their issues fixed.
Okay, well, 2 things, and again, this is not an excuse, it's just the facts of life, that over in the resident halls, as you would probably know better than I, we have 2 maintenance guys that work here all the time. Basically, they're responsible for the whole thing, and then if there's something in a trade that they can't handle, then they call in an electrician or whatever. But those guys, from what I understand and talking to other resident, I haven't talked to you, do a pretty damn good job. I think part of their issue has been that they don't always get the tools they need, and I've spoken with them personally, and I don't mean hammers, but I mean new pipes, soldering equipment, whatever it takes, that to make me aware of it if it's an issue. So I think, that's what I heard in the past, those type of things. But again, the only thing I would recommend is you get to, the big kahunas over here, and you tell them to get a hold of me, because I hear from her, but nothing. It's just not. It's not tolerable. Okay, first of all, it's not tolerable There are some way out reasons that maybe this happens, but at least you deserve an answer. Okay, so that's the only thing. I think we've opened up communication, at least giving answers. We will open it up more, but sometimes we go in circles. Again, I can't remember the whole, but a young woman last year in February, I believe, her toilet didn't work for like 3 weeks. And ultimately, I went over there. Why don't we just replace the toilet? Oh yeah, we just did that. Why did it take 3 weeks to come on? I know it's an old toilet. Rip it out and get it done. But that's just intolerable. Okay, that just shouldn't happen.
One more thing before, I just want, if you see something, especially in the back lot, you see it, report it right away. I had an instance just last week with a young lady. She comes into the office and speaks with my lieutenants at about 3:40 on Friday. She said something happened before midnight Thursday. There was a male. She just felt uncomfortable. He came out of nowhere. And I said, why'd you wait, 18 hours? She said, well, I didn't think about it. I mean, to get something like that taken care of, and to get us up there right, let us know right away so we can get somebody up there right away if you see something.
I will say something though, I haven't even talked about Fred, but I had worked out, we had hosted the state championships the other night, and I talked to his new guy. And one thing again, it goes back to you guys, but he goes, is there anything I can do? I'm catching kids all over the place, opening the doors, letting people in. And you gotta help yourselves. You cannot be letting people in or whatever. I don't know the whole system, but this guy's telling me he caught like 9 people in his first weekend on, opening the doors for people, letting people into certain doors. You could have the greatest resident hall staff of all time and the greatest police department, and we ain't gonna be able to solve that issue. You gotta help us take care of the campus. So, was there one more question?
Anybody have any quick last questions before they head out?
Go ahead.
It's not more of a question. I'm sorry, my name is Francis Diaz. I'm just a regular student. It's more of a suggestion off of what Nicholas Bernardo had said before about maybe you guys could make some student jobs for physical plant. I think it's a really, really good idea if you can. I'd be very interested in working for you guys. Many a job, but that's besides the point. I think you guys definitely would sugarcoat students like help shovel.
That probably won't happen.
Why?
Because there's much more liability. Shoveling is one of the hugest liabilities with back problems and getting hurt. So I have to be honest, that's probably not going to happen. And especially at times, we have tried that in the past, and we'll have to get our shovelers out at 5 in the morning, and we have this whole bunch of people. We actually paid people that were going to, not volunteer, but we had a list of paid people who are going to come out and shovel at 5 o'clock. You know who was there? Fred and I by ourselves. So we got to get that place open. So I got to be honest, I don't see that. I don't see the shoveling piece happening only because we got to be there. You're not going to appreciate it like when I'm knocking on your door. But that's a little, and the other thing is we're running, if you look around campus now and go out and you can measure them, all the new sidewalks we put in this summer are all oversized. All right, and we're doing much less shoveling because it's just so time consuming, high liability for injury, and we're bringing on these little cub cats. I don't know if you saw them, they're kind of as big as this couch. They can clean a path out 100 times faster than a human being with a shovel. So, basically all we're shoveling today are steps and making sure, it's a massive job to make sure we're, not only do we have to just plow things, we have to make sure, handicap cutoffs are accessible, making sure they're shoveled out. We go, you'll shovel the whole thing out and then a plow comes through, and now there's just enough stuff there that really, can affect anybody in walking. So, but I think, I still think it's a good suggestion. I still think we need all to work, whether it's through work study jobs or whatever, at helping keep our campus, in a best place. Another suggestion, which I love, but just to tell you, is adopt a spot. Well, we tried it in one place all summer, nobody kept up with the spot. So now we have to take all the physical plant guys to go, weed out the flowers, and it's very time consuming. Everybody has, I think, great intentions when we get into these projects, but we really have to watch which most efficient for the campus.
This question is for Fred, actually. I'm Matt, I'm an RA in Sweet. I used to go to Western New England College in Springfield. Thank you. And we used to actually have,
thank you very much.
They were, I guess, not really student security guards or police officers, but they would kind of like walk around the campus and make sure there was nothing, because obviously you guys can't be everywhere at once. What about doing something like that, where that way that kind of, you don't have to have your guys getting in and out of the car constantly to go walk around the building?
And I brought that up too. My went to Providence College, and one was a dispatcher and things like that. Here we have one is union issues, we think, and two, it was tried in the past with the old chief, and he said he spent more time trying to get the radios back, trying to get the kids to go out there and do it than it was worth it, and never really was a success. You know, in the springtime, I'd like to try and revisit that on a limited basis. But it's up to the students. I mean, they can't just take the radio and head back to their room and listen on the radio. They got to really be out there. And the other thing is, our guys that are on patrol, we really can't supervise the students because we really have to say, you know, they're going to do this, and we have to know that they're going to do this. So if I'd like to see something, I'd like to go to something like that on a limited basis, and we'll probably look at that in the springtime, because you know, especially in the parking lots in the back and things like that. But
that could be even something you do for criminal justice majors, or
right, yeah, but again, just got to have you know, if they say they're going to do it,
reliability.
They got to be out there. Okay. And that's the biggest thing. Anything else? Yes.
I have one. I feel like I should know the answer to this, but I didn't think of it, so I'm gonna ask anyway.
Okay.
What you had mentioned you wanted to do a drill for an emergency situation.
Yes, we are doing. Yes.
Right.
Right.
As of right now, what system is in place to alert students if something happens, if God forbid there was an emergency?
Again, we have it's run by the IT, but we have mass notification through email on your phone, and we have it campus-wide on the blue lights. We have it. It'll go on the website, campus website. It'll come through. We use WXIN, the radio station. But the key into this whole thing, nothing will work if when you register you don't give a good phone number.
Right.
And that's the key, because they use that phone number to put into the system. The system is only as good as you allow it to be. And we're at, I think, below 50%. Providence College is at 90%, okay? You can't register for classes unless you give a good address and a good phone number. So we don't have that yet, and that's really the key. That's what we have right now.
Hi, I'm Brittany. I was wondering if there was a way to get like designated smoking areas around the building, because like I know when leaving correctly for classes, is that not a question for you, or?
Hold on.
Or is that not? Sorry.
Vice President. I'm behind you, but I want to tell on what the point you're raising, because I'm interested in it. You're looking for
Like if we could get
designated areas
like,
on campus away from buildings.
Yeah, like a system to leave correctly in the front of the building there. And I know like I think get ahead of businesses. And is there a way to get it where there's only certain areas where people could smoke, or to enforce not smoking right in the building more?
Thanks for bringing that up, because it's something I'm interested in. In this room, how many of you, if you're willing to acknowledge it, are smokers? Are there any? Fabulous. Now, the Rhode Island College has no smoking inside any buildings, and the state law says 50 feet away from any entrance to any building. But we know that human nature being what it is, that members of the community, not just students, but faculty and staff, will go outside a door and light up right on near the exit, and you'll take in that smoke as you walk out, or some of the smoke goes into Dr. Kane's office over at Craig Lee and so on. I guess I'd say, would like to work with the executive officers of student community government and representatives of the nursing club, I don't know what the official name is over there, because they're interested in this topic, and mount a two-pronged effort. One is to come up with some information, educational information, but secondly, do what you're talking about, which many places, Disney World does it now. They've identified certain places around the campus that then, by policy, become the areas people have to go to smoke. And if you want to smoke, you go there, and if you don't go there, you don't light up anywhere else. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, oh yeah.
So you'd be in favor of that.
Very
And the
much so.
question is, will the executive, since this has come up and we're having lunch in another week or so.
We are, yes,
With
we
the
are.
president, with the executive officers, work with Dr. Kane and myself to see whether you would be on board and say, we would endorse this kind of a program if I can get the nursing group on board.
Absolutely. I would agree anyway. At least for my part.
Any other questions?
Good. Any other questions? For
I'd like to be
Director?
border to border, no smoking.
I second that.
But, and I've spoken about that many
All
times.
right.
But the fact is that, I think what we're talking about with you is a better policy to say, okay, we recognize there are gonna be some smokers no matter what we do. So set up X number of areas around campus, have them identified, and say to people, that's where you gotta go if you wanna smoke.
All right, we have about a half hour left. So we have a few issues that student community government is working on, and we want to kind of get like a gauge of the community. So Jen's going to kind of start it off, and then some of the executive officers might chime in because some of it's their kind of like project. So we're going to start off with Jen over here is going to start off.
So one of the big projects that the executive officers of student community government have been working on this semester is getting RIPTA bus passes for a cheaper price. And we were actually going to have a Speaker of Parliament talk a bit on that because that's really been his project, but unfortunately he had to leave, so
well, I can talk about it a little. What we're looking for is last year Rhode Island College students got half off on RIPTA, like RIPTICs, so 15 pass fares. Student community government would like to push for full, like for Rhode Island College to be on the UPass system, which means you swipe your RIC card and you get on the bus, and you don't have to pay, but the school pays through a general fee. The e-board is looking kind of for a general feel of how Rhode Island College students would feel to A, being on this program, and B, having to fund this program. Well, we have to fund this program. We can't just join it and not fund it. So the way the e-board the only way we can conceivably think of doing it is through adding a possible fee onto it. Like that's where, so we're trying to see where the students feel, would you want to join the UPass system? And if you would want to join the UPass system, would you want to possibly pay a fee so that you could join it? And we as an e-board have decided that doing just a RIPTA fee probably wouldn't be the best thing. If we did a fee for this, it would be a transportation fee that would go towards maintaining parking lots, maintaining sidewalks, signage, general kind of transportation and safety initiatives that need to be done on campus. So with the money left over from the UPass system, that money would go towards wherever it needed to go on the college campus. And if Aaron were here, he'd tell you that CCRI just instituted a fee for, I think, $20 for this exact program. So we're kind of seeing where you guys as Rhode Island College students would think, would you use RIPTA if you could use it for free? Oh, okay, we'll just put hands up. Would you use RIPTA if it was on your RIC card to get to the mall or to get to wherever you may need to go? What? All right, okay, that's more than half of you. So does anybody have any thoughts or questions? Yes, David.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Would this change our IDs?
Probably not, because it's just on
because then wouldn't that be another cost?
As far, like, obviously we haven't done the complete legwork, but the UPass system is probably just another like thing on your RIC card. So you might need to like put it back through a machine, or like they can just like do it somehow. Because the URI IDs aren't anything special compared to our IDs. They look basically the same. So we're assuming, like, from what we understand, it wouldn't require any major renovation or redesign of our RIC card, from what I understand. It was a guess.
Oh, you said it was at CCRI it was like $20.
Something about I don't.
I
think it's 24.
Yeah, like,
24?
Like, yeah,
Okay,
like
24.
If it was like $100, I would say that's kind of a lot, but like $24.
Yeah.
So are you thinking it would be something like that?
Well, we don't know. Like there was a thought that we would do that, and then there's also a thought that maybe we wouldn't have to charge that much if we just wanted to fund the UPass program, or so
Yeah, I guess it sort of
it's a very
depends,
much it's a
how
work
much.
in progress. We were kind of seeing where you guys as students were feeling. Yes,
What's
Dave.
the perspective date? Like, we want to put this fee in, it'll go into place.
The earliest. I don't even know if it could be this year. It couldn't be this year because I think fees would have to have already been in to increase your fees, if I'm not mistaken. Correct. So it would have to at the earliest next year. But the college president wants data on whether students would support this because she doesn't want to tax students if they don't want it. So we're definitely looking for input from the students. It'll be in the survey, but we're looking to see how you guys feel. Yes, Brittany.
I feel like also if you talk to a lot of the commuters, like I personally have friends who like live in Providence and ripped it in. Talking to commuters, I know a lot of them would probably use it. And overall, I think that's actually a really good idea to do it because I know maybe we don't all like use the ripped all the time, but if ever is a day you
But if you have
go
the
to
option.
mall or something, like it'd make it a lot easier.
Yep. Francis.
I think a lot more students would be interested in using RIPTA if they had more buses that came here, I guess. And I think that if you guys are going to implement a UPass system, then at the same time you guys need to advocate for more rides because 26 doesn't run past like 8 o'clock.
This is very true.
And I have to walk to Stop and Shop on Man Avenue just so I can take a bus to work on Sunday and come back and walk back. And it's a lot of work.
Yeah, and be assured that Aaron, who's kind of our point person on this, said that if we were to do this would be a lot of money that would go towards RIPTA.
Yeah,
that they would have to increase they would have to increase night and weekend service. Like that's one of our major things is that we would want them to increase specifically those two things to campus if we were to kind of go in this direction. We would want them to kind of help us out because we're helping them out with money. So it's kind of this is an early kind of, we're thinking of this and we're trying to get kind of feedback from you guys, the students here. So, yes, David.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Is it more convenient for us to have this, all the students to have this? Because I've taken the bus before and it takes about a half hour to get.
No, not if we take 26. It only takes 17 minutes.
I mean,
26 takes 17 minutes.
Is it more convenient to students to have the option to take the bus? I mean, I think it's one of those things that if you have the option, you'll take it if you want to. I mean, not everybody's going to use it, but then again, the school's not paying for someone who's not using it. It's only per swipe.
It's going to be a lot of trial and error, but like it was already said, we're kind of in like a research phase right now, and Aaron's doing a lot of research on it, and that's why we're getting your feedback. Like, we're looking to see if people would really want it. So we're asking you that question, basically.
Don't get me wrong, I think it's a good idea. Sorry to cut you off.
Oh, no.
I'm just wanting to know all the...
And unfortunately, we don't have all the facts to give you. We were just kind of seeing whether you guys were going to give us an absolute, like, no, are you crazy? Or, yeah, this is kind of something that would be good for us to kind of look into.
From my experience, it's very convenient. A lot of us work, and even just going home on weekends, it's easier to take a bus. And, like, even as always, like, we advertise different events around Rhode Island, but some people don't have cars, so how can they even do things like that? Like,
So you could take your
your
residents on the bus to the zoo.
There's no way to get there. Like, even just going with a group of friends, there's no way to get there if you don't have a car.
Yeah.
To me, it's a lot more convenient. I'd be able to work more hours if I, having free busing, I can go home when I want to, extra things off.
For me, I don't live in Rhode Island. I live in New Hampshire, and I live on campus. So I find the RIPTA system for me is really convenient, just because I don't have a car on campus. It can take me to the mall or the grocery store. The bus doesn't take me home. So I just find it's a really nice service to have. And if it were part of the just scanning the ID thing, I would totally fund it. Like it would be really convenient.
And I mean, it's something that would be like, it would be in your tuition. Like you would get charged like $10 a semester or whatever it would be. I wouldn't want to put a number on it because I couldn't tell you what the number would be yet. But that's how it would work. And Francis has your hand up.
Yeah, I think it's gonna keep advocating for support, I guess. Like, we're the only school in Rhode Island that doesn't do this, so if you guys are gonna, like, make a push for this, I really suggest you do it, like, super soon, because I feel so stupid when I'm on 55 and 30 PC kids get on the bus for free, and I'm just sitting there like, screw you, I just paid $2. Like,
Yeah.
I hate it so bad, and Uri has it, Jibu has it, Rizzy has it.
There we are. All right. Yep.
One of the
Sorry,
things, just to keep in mind and consider, first of all, my name is Sean, and I'm also a Carl and a commuter. I would use it more if there was a bus stop closer to this end of the campus, and maybe to keep in mind, it can be the same bus, even if they stop here first, drive to that end, and drop off the rest of the kids. But I think at the risk of sounding lazy, to be dropped off over there, especially at 1 o'clock in the morning, and have to walk here is also a safety issue.
Very true. I mean, we have to work with what we got, but I mean,
Just to keep in mind.
oh yeah, absolutely. I know Dr. Penfield. Do you have your hand up?
Just so you know, last week, President Cariolo and I met with 2 representatives from the RIPTA organization to engage them in conversation about improving service with Rhode Island College. They, of course, have their own set of issues and problems, financial being a significant one, but they're interested in working with Rhode Island College. And tomorrow, they asked us, they'd like to have a Rhode Island College student work as an intern with them for the next few months to do some research that they want to do with students at the college to collect information that will help them make better decisions on how to serve Rhode Island College. And it just happens that tomorrow morning, Dr. Kane didn't know this till just now, Dr. Kane and I are meeting with a student who's interested, 10 o'clock, who's potentially interested in working with RIPTA on this task. So there is some attention being given to this topic, and it's all the attention being given would result in improvements not this year but next year as we work on it, and that's in addition to the research that you've been talking about thus far.
I know David had a question. Not really
Just
RIPTA
it has nothing to
pertaining.
do with any RIPTA. Sorry, before he leaves. Is there any? I'm on many student work on campus, and I was wondering if the TVs in Donovan can be switched back to advertising for student arts.
Right now, no. But we did develop two of the TVs with graphics, so that they would have an opportunity to get the information out. We're still working through some of the issues with the monitors. While they were up for the beginning of the school, it's a very complex process. So the answer right now for the short term is no, but who knows what the future will bring.
Were they put in for TV? Because would it be possible to get banners back in Donovan?
Well, I don't know if we'll be allowed to put banners in because of the fire concerns. From what I understand, only a certain percentage of the square footage, the open space in a place of public assembly, can have combustible materials. And when they did come through, when they did the fire inspection as part of our opening, they did note that. So that's why we immediately worked with graphics to make sure they get at least 2 of them.
Okay.
So it's a no for right now, but it is something that we're working on.
But was it a conscious decision on the dining center to shut those other TVs off to those student organizations?
As a matter of fact, no. The entire purpose of every television monitor in there was to provide television to our customers. We had hoped to have both television and the banners going, but when they did come through and tell us about the requirements, we went to the Plan B. And Plan B was to have a few less TVs and to provide some monitors for the communication of information.
Stefano.
This is about the food industry. I was wondering if maybe we could have like organic food at Donovan, because most of the food there isn't really as healthy as it should be. And I was wondering if maybe we could have or more of a variety of food at Donovan, because at the deli there's no thing for like vegetarian. Say at the cafe they have hummus wrap, but
Well,
at Donovan there's no hummus.
Just last week, we met with Joe Steele and a couple of the other folks from RSA, And I know that an information call went out to a lot of people, generated upwards to 2 pages of great ideas. Prior to this meeting, not because of this meeting, but prior to this meeting, I actually had a chance to speak with Joey real fast. And some of those suggestions have already been implemented. Yes, we'd love to have much more on the organic. It is a work in progress. I would ask you to help us, especially with the meatless entrees and those organic things. Please help pass the word when you see it, so that more people can take advantage of it. I did not mean to derail your conversation.
That's fine. It seemed like
but
Ripta was wrapping up.
If anybody did not have an opportunity to have their question answered, please feel free to stop by the Dining Center tomorrow. I would like to remind everybody that on December 2nd, we have our monthly meeting for the Food Service Advisory Committee, and I would really encourage people to attend.
You know what time it is?
Yes, it should, right now it's scheduled for 12:30, but we'll be putting up some signs, giving the exact time.
If you
Yes, Joe.
email that to me, I can make sure it goes out to all residential students through email.
I appreciate it. We'll do
So
it.
they know.
Thank you.
All right. So a few other things that we were wanting to talk about was green initiatives. Amanda and I were starting to work on. We were kind of asking you guys, what green initiatives would you guys like to see brought onto Rhode Island College campus? Yes, Timothy Ball.
I think the amount of styrofoam and plastic used in Donovan is becoming close to ridiculous.
Close to ridiculous.
Like if you just notice how many styrofoams I put out every 10 minutes, it's crazy. So like, I really wish you would have stayed to answer that question.
Yeah. So you all know, all of the questions, whether they're here or not, are going to be forwarded to them. Amanda's up here writing the minutes of this meeting, so they will be typed and sent out to the appropriate people that should see these. So minutes will be sent out after this meeting. So any questions that you guys have will be in there, and we can always follow up on them after. So don't feel. But styrofoam, I agree. But yes.
Okay, save the plasticware and brown paper bags. What I do for the plasticware, I just keep, knife, fork, and spoon for the whole semester, and then I change it over. So I just use it, one, pair.
She reuses her silverware for everyone, so you can possibly do that as a personal green initiative. Does anybody have any other? I know you had your hand up before, and I kind of went over someone else.
To be honest, I'm about to shoot myself in the foot, but I work directly under Arthur at Donovan, so now that that's known, you can all complain to me. But no, seriously, to answer the question about the styrofoam, it actually has been upgraded this year as part of the renovation. We had to start buying biodegradable, so it actually is a lot more greener than we were using, and it's still cheaper. I've gotten the comment that we should go back to using China and wash it because that would be better. To be honest, it's not, and it's actually worse than what we're doing now, and it's a lot more expensive. So I hope that helps.
I disagree, and maybe you have more information than I do, but I attend regional conferences as well as national conferences as the National Communications Coordinator for the Resident Coordinator for the Resident Student Association, and all of the other campuses we go to have plates and silverware around the region, and we go to 2 schools and then a 3rd school at nationals, which is around the country. And every single, the whole big push in our region now is green, and styrofoam and plastic stuff is we're bidding to host the conference here, and that is one of the things that could probably hurt us, destroy us, because the green is huge in our region right now, and styrofoam and plastic are not on the green list.
I just feel like even if you made it a safer styrofoam, it's still styrofoam nonetheless. You can still do better than styrofoam, even if it's costing you a little more. It's saving the environment as a whole. It just seems to me like Donovan is just trying to save as much money as possible instead of listening to.
Does anybody have any other green initiatives besides reusable or biodegradable or reusable green initiatives that they would want to see on campus? Yes,
Another
Joe.
Donovan one, just to add to the list.
Okay.
I've already told them this, but if we can
Yep, say it again.
There's no way in Donovan now to bring your own water bottle and get water that way. You have to buy a plastic water bottle.
Oh, there's no water tap?
There's no water on some of the machines anymore. And then the water, they always tell me to go to the water bubbler outside, but it doesn't work. And
Yeah,
it coworkers
Alex,
and.
actually I talked to the president about that, about a month and a half ago. And I was told exactly, well, there's a drinking fountain outside. When I told him, the drinking fountain bubbles up a little bit, you can fill a quarter of a cup of water. It's not really heat like you usually go up and fill a cup of water. They said, well, they said, sorry, that's all we're gonna do about it. They said they were gonna try and get someone to fix the drinking fountain, they even had it, so that is something.
That is something. We'll put it on our list and we'll keep looking into it. Does anybody have any other green initiatives that they want to try and see go happen on campus?
just wanna give
Oh,
like an
yeah,
update.
Bruno.
Because we are gonna start working on looking into greener initiatives, I'm gonna start doing more research into what is being done on campus. So I have set up with the leader of the green team on campus. I'm setting up a meeting with her next week, and also the engineer on campus to look at the electricity usage and how much electricity is being used, how we can have ways of decreasing when we don't need electricity being used. So we're gonna probably put out a survey with more questions like this and more information that we have to see what people's ideas are. Just letting you know.
We have a few more minutes, so is there any other general things that anybody really wants to bring up? This is your opportunity before we head out. Any problems, anything you want to bring up on campus?
The computers in Forest Man, it takes like 10 or more minutes for login.
Okay, slow login.
That happens sometimes, yeah, it takes a while to log in. Only a few computers though, some of them are going real quick, some other ones takes a few minutes.
Alright, so slow login on some of the computers.
This is not about the times the board meals run on. It's basically that time of the day when you go there and there's no food. Like at 3 o'clock,
Yeah.
right before lunch goes to dinner, there's nothing to eat.
Okay.
So I don't know if they can do anything about that.
Well, I know that was part of the purpose of the grab and go, and because that came up a lot at the campus perform last year, I think, and that was why they added the grab and go. Grab and go may or may not be the best choice, but it is better than it was.
Okay.
Did you have another one?
Yes.
Okay.
I went to the Student Union Advisory Board meeting the other day, and the freshman class president, forgot his name, sorry, brought up the fact that there's times at the rec center when the pool's closed, like in the middle of the day, and there's no like reason behind it.
Okay.
And I do work at the rec center, and they say that it's because there's not enough people going at the same time, so like pays a lifeguard to just be there. But he said that a group of his friends do feel like it would be used if it was open at that time.
So extend full hours of the pool, I guess is what we're going at. David, did you have your hand up?
Never mind.
Okay. Brittany?
Down on the Mount Pleasant side of campus, like as you get past like the big computer parking lot, there's no more blue light. And I know like that's not a huge deal because not normally people are walking there, but like I have to walk to one of the schools I'm volunteering at, and like going down there, like it doesn't seem creepy, and I'm normally there during the day, but it's still like the fact that if something happens there is no blue light. Is there a way to get more?
So blue light down past that whole road over by like that
just further down,
little
like
thing that's
the
down
rest
there.
of the campus.
Okay. We'll add that.
Yeah, like past the roof to stop area.
I know this came up at last year's campus computer forum, I think, about the library being open later and
Oh,
there being
well,
24
we can give you some news on the library. I believe finance week before? Last week, they approved money for the library to be open 24 hours?
Basically, we decided to meet halfway with the administration, or we're basically gonna pay halfway to get it open 24 hours during finals week for this semester. If we get enough usage between the hours of 2 and 8 a.m., which is when it's closed now, there's potential to do that again in the future.
So right now the library will be open later, only during finals week as kind of a test pilot program to see if it's used, if it's not used. So student government is paying to have the library stay open during finals week for you.
This is also related to that. Is there, like, I know we talked about this, but is there any way to have a 24-hour room? I've heard that creating a door into like the Reinhardt room would be too much money or something like that. But I'm just wondering. if there's any ideas on that.
I mean, we've been told that it's not exactly feasible for the Reinhardt room, but
They started talking about the cafe.
But they started talking about like the cafe and other different, like trying to find alternatives. They know that that problem exists on campus and they want to try and help everyone. So they're looking into alternatives. And I know we as an executive board, that was one of our first things that we talked about in June, was that we wanted them to talk about the 24-hour room. So there is movement on that. We're trying to.
Yeah, because the cafe it's got computers down there. They lock up where the food is, and mostly the biggest concern with using that is that if people can get into the cafe at night and use that as a 24-hour room, they can get into the rest of the student union. So it's mostly that concern that's like being looked into, but we're working on it.
I don't know if this is possible, but I just had a question about if it could ever be something like be done about having like a shuttle service in between the rec center and like the dorms, so the East Campus and everything.
I don't know. We'll put it on. I
Yeah, I
can't
just
give you an answer right now.
We're talking with PECAC a
We've been talking a little bit about it.
With PECAC.
With with PECAC. Yeah, we talked a little bit about it. I'm sorry. My mind is not. Kim, you had your hand up for a while. Sorry.
Lights and tokens for commercial vehicles on residence hall path. So more lights.
More lighting out here.
Like not the blue lights.
Not the blue, but actual physical
The
lighting.
actual
Okay.
lights, and then
Like, where are you looking for? Like, just kind of like a general, like, do you have an area that's particularly dark or just like
just the path.
the main one right here in front of Weber? Okay.
The Willard side of, if you walk back to Newhall, the one that's the Willard side of the road.
They're out too, yeah, but all the ones. Okay, so more lighting right here and the Willard.
And
Yeah.
like in front of Forest Man? Is that what you?
Wherever their residence.
Right. She means right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know she meant across the street.
Okay.
She wasn't finished.
Oh, she wasn't finished. Keep going. I'm sorry. I didn't.
And tokens on both sides for commercial vehicles, like, like instead of those white things, like trucks still get by.
So you want them fixed so that the trucks can't get by? Is that kind of what you're asking?
No, I think about toll booths.
Toll booths.
Toll booths.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess one end would be Thorpe Hall, and another end
would be okay. Were there other hands that I was missing? Amy Mosh.
I don't know if they mentioned this, but for the cafe, the proposal that the cafe stay open, just so people could use the tables.
Yeah, the tables.
Yeah.
What about like Donovan if they closed like upstairs where the bridge is? So like they couldn't get into the student union, but you like go in kind of like one side instead of like the cafe.
Yeah. I mean, that was just what our original.
No, I know.
Okay. We'll put it up there as a alternate.
I don't know if that would work.
I don't know. Francis.
You guys are gonna like forward messages, right? So.
Yeah, yeah.
The guy left, and I kind of wanted to go off of what Amy said before, about like how she couldn't use her board. I like the board plan because I get food still, and I don't run out of points. But I understand what you're saying. Sometimes you don't, and you wish you had it. So I would say a suggestion to them that was gonna be to him, but we have to switch topic. Was gonna be that like we're paying for the board plan, like that's our money, anyways. You know what I mean? So that we don't lose our very own money. We should just, whatever board we don't use, it should be transferred over to be used as points. Like, I don't use my $8.50 for dinner, so that's $8.50 more points that I have, more bonus dollars I have. They're not losing any money because they would have used the $8.50 if I would have gone to dinner. So it's just a way for me to save my own money. Because, like, we're already giving, like, thousands of dollars for a meal plan that Darwin food is not worth thousands of dollars. But, and then if I don't use it.
Actually, technically they took that into account because if everyone used every meal right up to the dollar amount and all their points, then I'm gonna go bankrupt. They expect us to miss meals. So like if that happens, like they couldn't even stay open.
So then, we just switch it to where they break even, so that we're getting, cause I feel like they think that like, I understand that they're a company too, or they're like a business too, but we're like, if we didn't pay for our meal plans or whatever, like they would be out of business, you know what I mean? So like they should be trying to like help us, not like trying to get money off of us, cause it's basically what they're doing. Like, all they care about, I feel like, is how they can make the most profit off of us. And it shouldn't be that way. It should be like, that's our money, so we're giving it to you anyways, and I can't like live here and buy my own food. I need to get a meal plan, just don't in itself, because that's like $2,000. And I could feed myself for $2,000 a whole lot better than that.
What if it wasn't for every meal though? Like what if it was like you could do a max of like 3 meals a week? Will it add that much money to your account?
Yeah.
Could you do it
Even
something like
that.
that where it's only a certain amount?
I mean, these are all things that we would have to forward on. We don't have the answers
Yeah, I know you
here,
don't have
but
the answers, I'm saying.
we'll definitely put them.
I think just on that point, and I think you're right. I mean, that's the way college meal plans work. They're not going to say, well, if you don't use it, we'll give you back the money. You know what I mean? That I think. Sorry, that'll never happen. You know what I mean? So I think if you can focus on things that you hate, I think you have a valid complaint with it. You can't eat dinner 2 days a week. Do you know what I mean? So if that's the stuff that you're upset about, definitely push that stuff forward. As far as the meal plans, if you look at any other college, that just is how it is. If you don't use it, you lose it for board. Sometimes you might be able to work on a system where if you have 19 meals, you can use 19 meals anytime. But yeah, and sometimes it works like that. But as far as like if you miss them, that's just that's how they stay in business, and they would go bankrupt if we reimburse people for the meals that they missed. But I think it's just better to focus on the stuff that you might be able to have an
We have
impact
about a
on.
minute or two left. Nick has his hand up. So.
Kind of bouncing off that. I feel like I've read this before. In one of the Donovan bulletin boards, like when you walk in, I could be wrong, but if not, maybe it's something that could get implemented. But I feel like we do have the board meals put aside for us to use, and if there's in special circumstances, sometimes Donovan will prepackage meals, and they'll prepare it for you beforehand. I know they were actually looking at doing that earlier this year when we were potentially looking at a hurricane hitting us. They were doing prepackaged meals for people to get back to the buildings. I don't know if it would be possible to get a prepackaged meal paid for on certain days. That way you at least are getting food for that board plan.
I asked him that. He said no.
Yeah, they used to offer that
I
service.
just asked him when he was here.
Yeah.
They used to offer that service, and what would it be was you would call Donovan's office
Yeah.
and say I need this, but then I feel like a lot of people found out about it, and then they don't have enough manpower because if everybody was to do that, they don't have the space, the people, all that.
All right. Well then, just to bring that down to a more focused issue, the original reason I raised my hand is Thanksgiving. And the residence halls are open during Thanksgiving now, and we do have people that stay on campus over that weekend, but Donovan isn't open. I know that's like a union issue, but I feel like because of that, at least then for Thanksgiving, they should have some sort of prepackaged something to provide residents with food throughout the time that they stay there over the Thanksgiving break. Just because, I feel like if we're keeping our buildings open to house them, we need to be able to provide them with food as well. So that might be something to look into.
In regards to the meal plan concerns, since I've been chairing the Conditions and Services Committee and I've met with Dr. Penfield before to discuss some things with him, Donovan is not planning on changing anything big with the meal plans anytime soon. They said they're willing to tweak things. They're still looking for feedback. So your best bet with these concerns is to go to those advisory food committee meetings and bring them there.
We'll still pass your concerns along, but those are also the best venue. And we'll do like 1 or 2 more questions. Joe?
Could they please price everything? There's no prices anywhere in Donovan, just certain places.
Oh, prices.
Yeah,
okay.
Not every, yeah.
I prizes.
No, and
You
sometimes.
you open up your grilled cheese and there's
No,
like something
sometimes
in it.
I got you.
I have to guess the price of certain things, and I'm like, how am I supposed to know how much I can
Yeah.
spend if I don't know
Better-
what things
So
cost?
better signage.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really annoying to stand there and watch, but most of the time they're actually open.
And I know Tay had her hand up for a while, so you're welcome.
I was just wondering if they could change the flavors of the frozen yogurt.
Here.
All right.
That's a really
The only thing I was gonna say about the monitors.
Was that there on the monitors?
Yeah, seeing as I can operate them and I'm the one who manages that system.
All right.
I know it is a pain in the what to stand there and watch them. We are trying to improve it, we are trying to improve the timing of it. All the prices are on there, and also as you walk in, at certain times of the day, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, the main screen on the lobby will tell you what your residency equivalent is. So if you do live on campus and you do use your board, it will tell you how much you have to spend for your community.
Can I just offer a suggestion on the monitors? Because when you're, like, it takes a while for them to go all the way through, and I think it might be better to just have, like the entree section, and just what the entree is offering run, and not, like, the entire, like, Donovan's meals go on that screen, so you can just, if you're, like, looking into that line and what food you might want to get from the entree, you just see that running on the screen.
We do have that set up, and I'm going to be very brief, but unfortunately, the system that we bought for the serving area, it has to run for 24 hours. So it starts at 12:01 a.m. and ends at 11:59. So unfortunately, whatever we schedule, we do schedule entrees on the entree monitor, deli on the deli salad. But the entree line is what changes all the time. However, the lunch runs all day, the dinner runs all day. And until I can figure out, unfortunately, the appliance for that is very limited. We're dealing with it. But there are plans for expansion. It's not a final thing, where it's a very big work in progress. So all of you know, if you ever have comments, suggestions, it's a very expensive system, but I'm always available upstairs. I work 4 out of 5 days a week, Tuesday through Friday, and I'm always accepting comments and suggestions, and I will try to help.
I have a question.
Okay.
I just have a question regarding the system. Is there a way to turn it off when the building's not in operation? Because I know that the TVs in the outside area are working, and I think you just said that they're working 24 hours a day on the inside of the
Yeah.
Is there a way to turn it off to
There is a
conserve
way.
energy?
I will tell you, the TVs that we purchased are designed to run 24 hours a day, and they're very energy efficient. But there is a way to turn it off, and we've discussed the possibility. It's a timing issue, seeing as we open at 6:30 in the morning, of who's going to go turn it on. And the piece of the wireless remote is very expensive, so who we allow access to that is another issue. So it's been talked about, and we'll address it further, but at this point, again, it's work in progress.
Okay.
But
Well, I guess we'll take Kim as our last question.
The Citizens Bank machines are going to be an installment.
That.
Yes.
Apparently.
Yes.
I know the student union is working on it, but I don't.
Yeah, it will be soon.
They're changing to citizens?
Yeah.
They're changing the sovereign to citizens in the student union.
Sorry.
Hopefully after I'm gone, because I have sovereign. Hopefully after I'm gone. All right.
Sovereign's not right down the street.
I know, Sovereign's right down the street. All right, well, I would like to thank everyone for coming to this Campus Improvement Forum. For all the Parliament members who are here, make sure you guys sign in over there. That's how we know you were here. And you guys all know you're supposed to be here with your $40 and stuff. So make sure you sign in so we know you're here. Other than that, as always, come see us, or if you have any questions, go to whoever you should be going to see. And thank you guys for coming. Don't forget to take food from the back. There's probably a bunch left.
Trust me, I
So
will.
don't forget to take some home with you. Thank you guys.